Welcome and welcome back to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. To those that might be new, we are the Light Renegades. We are a collective of Pleiadian beings bringing you information from the universes at large and the veils that are truly non-existent at this time. We are traversing all time and space and dimensions and understanding and bringing disclosure to the negative reptilian forces and its understandings of how it's had such influence on planet Earth at this time and all of its inhabitants. So if you find yourself here for the first time, I would say please go easy. I would say please take a minute to decide if you are ready to receive a message that quite frankly might rock your entire axis of being and your understanding. And I've been feeling this message come for some time, and I channeled this a couple of days ago and I realized I really needed to work within my energy of self to be able to bring this forward. And Teams of Light mentioned this in this channeling. And yesterday I was taken to a very almost, I don't know how to describe it, a space that I truly haven't ever been in before. And I held ceremony for Blue Lotus energy, which you can find in the community tab if you feel called to. And Thoth came forward, and I've been told I have a very strong connection to ancient Egypt. I think a lot of us here do, on the path of expanse. And it was the first time that I've channeled Thoth, to a group. And he came in and said that he wanted to take over, kind of what I had planned for the session. So I had to recreate a whole different understanding to be brought forth. But whilst I was bringing forward this understanding, it was like I was just getting flashes and memories of my life that I just truly couldn't remember. And it felt very overwhelming to be in that space. I felt like I was traversing all time and space at the exact space and time. And today, after sitting and understanding more about what was happening yesterday, is that I've been brought forward an understanding that I think that I knew to be true somewhere, but I didn't have concrete evidence of it. And Teams of Light have not been giving me the answers that I've been seeking on this path for some time. They've left me with so many doors open. They left me stood on the edge of a cliff so many times and just, wasn't ready to bring forward the answers that I was asking, because they were trying to push me into a corner to be really trusting my own intuition and what I'm feeling and sensing. So for them to, corroborate what I've kind of been feeling in the here and now is, it's completely kind of rocked my foundation of self today, everyone. So please bear with me. I'm very much in a meditative state on the inside in my core. I'm bringing this forward to you all, and I've been having to shed a layer of self and understanding that I think I'm only just starting to truly understand. And I watched a video today, and that was a catalyst for me kind of having another breakdown of my psyche somewhere, and to come into the understanding is that I've been opening up parallel timelines this whole entire lifetime. So I've been opening up past lives and past understandings in the present time so that I could heal it in the here and now. And I've definitely brought forward this information before, but I think the depth of my understanding of this is ever more palpable. And I think so many of you are going through the same thing as well. And these feelings, I've realized, have been happening through the entirety of my life, and it's layers of confusion. It's layers of almost like static energy, or feeling like quite frankly that I'm going to die somewhere, and that's me closing down timelines that need not be connected to my energy in the here and now, or it's me pulling aspects from those timelines and healing them in this present time. So if you have been in a very confusing state for some time, I would say that you've been working through timelines, and please call upon Thoth. We had an amazing session, amazing journey with him, and he brought forward some encouragement and understandings that I think is going to be beneficial for a lot of the collective. So if you would like to access the replay, please do not hesitate to reach out. But I think that we are now coming to a time where we are ready to just understand and accept more. And today's message is very much a reflection of that. I channeled this a couple of nights ago, really late at night. I seem to be up quite late at night at the moment, and just really receiving downloads and understandings in, the piece of, I think, out of collective consciousness of where I am, and that just being a space that I feel most comfortable in right now. I'm definitely having to make sure that I'm protecting my own energy more so that I'm in my own understandings at this time. And I think it's because I'm trying to bring forward bits of information that are quite frankly, going to be difficult for the collective to process and understand. And I know that I'm not the only channel that's going to be bringing forward this information, but I think we're all just taking different aspects of this truth and bringing it to the forefront and the light. And I'm going to share something that I know is going to definitely put me in the firing line for something somewhere, but I've had this strong connection with the Vatican for some time, and I've been going there virtual viewing this space and seeing some quite insane things, quite frankly, and I think that we are ever stepping towards a layer of even deeper truth with regards to the negative reptilian order, but also fractals of other beings that have, sided with the negative reptilian forces, and that being something that is also attached to their space. And I think that's all I'm going to share for now, because today's message is pretty heavy already. But there's a lot being brought forward, everyone. So we are coming to a time where, this is going to be a true battle for your consciousness. And I really want you to all make sure that you are doing what you can to keep yourself at a space of peace, and making sure that you feel as safe as possible. And please know, we are completely here to support you. All teams of light are completely here to support you, but we are going to be looking at strict doctrines of religion, and specifically the Bible, and closing down understandings that are just not relevant to us in the here and now. And I hope today's message is received in a space that you're just willing to say that I'm here to express all that I am in sovereignty and in truth, because we are trying to pull back layers of our own consciousness for ourselves, so that we have this new space to work freely in. But that does mean that we are taking down strict doctrines of religion, and that has had its place in this world, and it's been so beneficial for so many. So please understand where you are in your path and in your journey, and if this is the next stage of your evolution, great. Please stick with us. But if you feel like, I don't think this is my space right now, I would say please do not continue with today's message, because I think it might be too much for your psyche to handle at this moment in time. And I feel like I'm having to be quite strict in what I'm saying, because, to some, this is going to be the shakeup of their entire lives. And, I realize I've been going through this somewhere too. And I went to Catholic schooling, although I wasn't Catholic or, put through the strict understandings of that. But there is a side of my family that is very heavily Christian. So I've had this understanding of God being brought forward time and time again in my life. And, somewhere I just didn't fully believe it to be true. I believed in the energy. I believed in the light. I felt something when I prayed. And when I said, God, please help me, something came in to help me. But I don't think I ever felt it as a presence of a man. I felt it as a presence of light. And I think that's the understanding that we're trying to shift with this layer of consciousness. But there are aspects to the Bible that I think have only just clicked into place for me now, this year. And now that I understand everything that I do, I feel like it is incredibly obvious. And I think so many of you are going to have these aha moments, but it's going to be painful somewhere. I felt like I've been grieving something somewhere. I felt like I've been dying somewhere. And just a complete collapsing of consciousness of self time and time again. And this has happened over and over again in my journey, but I think I forget what it feels like until it comes back again. I felt like I was right back at the beginning of my journey, bringing all this information forward, bringing all aspects of these different timelines forward to myself, because it was like I was going through an overhaul of everything that I thought that I knew, and that just being completely shattered. And somewhere, the physical vessel has to go through this, so it feels like a death. It feels like a closing in on self. It feels like like heartbreak and grief somewhere. And we just have to allow for ourselves to feel it, and call upon your teams of light that you want to be supporting you in this space. And this is not to say that you cannot go forward and be calling upon aspects of light that have come from strict doctrine. That is not what this message is about, but it's about understanding that some aspects of Bible is not truth. But I think that's all I'm going to share for now. And the Angelic Council brought this message forward, and the Angelic Council has been headed by Archangel Michael, but it was very much Metatron's wings that came forth with me in this space. And I also had Lucifer with me as well, everyone. And I know that this is still splitting the crowd somewhere, but what we are all trying to gain in this space is a new layer of consciousness so that we can expand into the futures that we all know that we have been asking for, that we all know we have signed up for. This is going to be 1,000 years expanse, but we are seeding consciousness now that's going to be important for us to be able to move forward in the future. And it's going to be a step-by-step process, everyone. And I'm incredibly apprehensive to bring this forward, but also at the same time, I feel like my heart is free. I feel like somewhere I'm getting a layer of freedom that I haven't been truly able to access up until now. And I realize this is because, this negative reptilian influence has such a way of seeping into everything and your psyche. And, I was told that I brought in some of this energy for me to transmute this lifetime. So I've been living a very distorted understanding. And I think an even heightened awareness of just this confusion that the hive mind creates, and being part of that somewhere to some degree, everyone. And I'm still trying to truly understand what that means while still being in parallel timelines that, I've been in aspects of mind control, and that being something that's been mirrored in my space. So everything has just been incredibly chaotic and confusing in my life at certain points, and I'm really having to face those aspects now. So if you find yourself in a space of feeling, I'm just incredibly confused, I'm not entirely sure what's going on, please do reach out, because we will be able to help you in your space. Do not suffer in silence. Do not suffer alone. There is no need for that. And, if you feel like you just need help in that present moment, please call upon any teams of light. You can call upon any of the angels. You can call upon any of being of light that you feel like you want to be holding your hand at this time. And I'm going to say beings of darkness too, if that's your space. I know that we're going to have some expansive understandings being brought forward, some expansive souls stepping forward that are in all realms and all space and in time. So whatever you feel is stepping forward towards you to grab hold of it, I would say do that, especially in the next few channelings, everyone, because a lot's being brought forward, but we are ready for this. But today's channeling, a couple of days ago's channeling, is titled False Light. And the Angelic Council started with, Dear Light Souls, an incredibly challenging message today for some. Please go easy with self. Please understand, we share this with you all now so that you can be set free. Today's message and understanding that we wish for you to receive in heart. This is an expression that we have shared before. This is an expression of truth that we are finally ready to share with you. To some, this may not come as a surprise, but it may shatter the understandings, the consciousness, the core beliefs that you held so dear. Today's message is about the Bible. Some have been following this book of false tales for a very, very long time. We know that many other channels are now being guided towards this information also. So please know this will not be the only space. We think this dear soul is pleased for this. She's been putting this message off for some time. We've had to fine-tune her energy to allow for this message to be brought forth to you all. This dear soul battling her own belief systems each day, so much brought to her attention that truly seemed impossible, unfathomable, yet in heart, in soul, known to be true. And we feel this message will resonate with the same notion. So we share this with you. The Bible has been around for millennia. This is fact and truth. However, much of your understandings in the here and now also very misunderstood. There are pages of the true Bible still missing. There are scrolls, documents attached to this truth still missing, locked away and hidden, as these truths hold so much weight and power. We wish to share that the NRs, the negative reptilians, have had a hand in correcting such doctrine. They've gone through chapters, verses, hymns, and twisted and contorted understanding. So much of your true history is written within these pages. Please know this and hold this in heart when pressing forward. However, whenever bloodshed is written, this is the NR's influence. Whenever violence, torture, wrath, gluttony, anger is written, this is the negative reptilian influence. No being here for pure service to other will ever ask you to sacrifice anything for its own personal power. No bloodshed need be shed on a being of such light. It need not happen. How does this make sense? Where you find yourselves right now. If anyone stepped towards you and told you they loved you greatly, ask you to end the life of another or any being of that matter, how would that make you feel? Love me in pain or in nothing at all. Please hear these words. No being will ever ask you to seek revenge or tyranny on another for the power or the mercy of anything of a high vibration. We hope you can hear these words now. Yes, sacrifice within self, with the compassion of death in terms of transformation and rebirth, but never an ending of a life of any kind. Once you hear it, it all becomes clear. Once you see it, it cannot be unseen. This dear soul know this expression all too well, and believers when we say this this dear soul know this expression all too well, and believers when we say we see you, we see how difficult this path is holding your light and seeding your truth at all times. Please be honest with yourselves. How and why would you think that a single man created all that you see before you? This is not to say the divine masculine isn't incredibly powerful, but please hear these words and hold them in heart, in honesty, and in truth. If you are in the here and now, you are ready to seed this layer of consciousness into being. You are on your way to truth and light. Remember this in times of such confusion. Come back to this message again, and we know so many of you have turned down the dial on your ultimate knowing and intuition for it being too painful to accept that you have been lied to, that you have been manipulated to the very core of your essence, of your soul expression. We are sorry to share this message with you all today. So many this will cause a deeper awakening than ever before. Please call out to us. We are here to support you. We wish that we could stay longer speaking to you all through this vessel, all day, in fact, a blessing to be sat with you, holding you and guiding you into the light at all times. You are ready, sweet souls. You are ready for ultimate expression and freedom of the consciousness. Thank you for your service to humanity and your soul's expression upon each life already lived. Take some time to ponder all that we have shared and be ready for the truth to be expressed to you. In your own way, in your own personal way of understanding, each soul unique, therefore each channel of communication unique. Remember this, dear light ones, we are always a stone's throw away, a confirmation there already for some. That be all for today. Take care. And I think I've known this to be true for quite some time, but I just didn't have the full capacity to bring it forward to you all. This has been on the shelf for a little while, and I think I've just been overwhelmed in understanding how I'm going to bring this forward to the collective. I think I've been waiting for the collective consciousness to raise its vibration for me to be able to bring this to you. And so much of this channeling, I feel like, is going to be broken down, and then we're going to go deeper into those understandings. The fact that the negative reptilians have, written parts of the Bible, and parts of the true Bible have been hidden from us, and aspects of our history hidden from us. And we know this to be true, but I think sometimes when we hear it brought forward in such a way, it's like a reawakening, and that's definitely the space that I've been in. At the beginning of my journey, I was delving into all of this, lost scrolls, looking at the stronghold of the negative reptilian order somewhere, and then I got taken down a path of all different layers of understanding, and I was channeling all different types of beings, still bringing forward this information, but just in a very different way. And then coming back to it today, and then understanding that religion is going to be placed in that category of having been coerced by the negative reptilians. I felt like it was just an aha and an awakening moment again within self. And it's taken another breaking down of my consciousness to be able to see this light and in this truth. So please go easy with today's message, everyone, and know that teams of light are truly here to support us at all times. So please call upon them. Anyone that you are feeling called to in this space and time, call upon them and they shall be with you. And I think we need to start to normalize however we communicate with teams of light, and that being our truth and that being okay. And I know that so many of us here understand things at such a different capacity, but I think in all of us coming together and sharing our truth, sharing our understanding, we're going to come to a more cohesive consciousness, everyone. And I know that there will be some here that are going to fear what I brought forward, are going to try and tell me that, it's not true somewhere, that I've been coerced somewhere. potentially by Lucifer, potentially by other teams of darkness. I understand that. I know that this is going to be the trajectory that, a tyranny of false claims about myself is going to come forward, and I have to just be okay with that. I'm okay with that. I know that I'm in an understanding where I can accept everyone for where they are in their path and in their journey, no matter what's thrown at me. So please know that if you have questions, please do reach out to us. Please do share in the comments and have this be a discussion that we are all coming together in, so that we can all help each other. And, it's going to take us all deciding to stand for our light and our sovereignty above all else, even when things are challenging, even when things are brought to our attention that we just don't want to believe. And so much of this path, I was, told truth somewhere, and it was just too much for me. I put it in a box, I put it on a shelf, and I kind of went down my own path of understanding for some time, almost lying to myself somewhere, because the truth was just too much to bear. And I think I'm going to share more of my personal journey as time goes on, with these kind of aha moments, so that you have something to perhaps resonate with or understand this layer of consciousness if it's not been brought to your attention yet, because I know there's such a diverse range of beings here. But I was definitely guided to a space to be looking at, the travesty and the horrific nature of the negative reptilian race and its connection to children today. And at the very beginning of my journey, when I started to awaken, I had no idea about any of this negative reptilian force. I wasn't even told that I was a starseed back then, although something happened that was a test for me to see if I was going to step forward in that space, that I now understand. Actually, I'm going to share that. So when I very first started to awaken, I was awakening in the spiritual realms. It's always been spirit that I've kind of seen throughout my life. And then I was coming to an understanding of me hearing spirit. And one night I was awoken probably like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was told to get out of bed. I was told to get out of bed and go into the spare room that I had in my flat when I was living in London. And I was going to see a being that wasn't from this planet. This is what I was told. And, I was utterly afraid. And I don't know why this is significant, but I was living alone. I just had a breakup, and I was naked at the time of this message being brought forth. And I don't know why there was something in that being naked too. And, I just felt in my complete rawest form. And, I went and crossed that landing in the dark, naked. And I opened the door and I turned on the light, and nothing was there, but that was a test of where I found myself in my journey, and also an expression of what was to come. Very much it was probably like a year and a half later that I was told, I was a Pleiadian Starseed and that I had connections to the cosmic realms. But there was a seed of that consciousness being brought forward in quite an extreme way, and that was another breaking down of my consciousness in that space. So remember this too, and remember that messages do step forward to you, but perhaps just in a very different way to others. And when I'm in my own present given time, I don't often speak to my guides, and I've shared this all with you before, and I've shared that, I've gone through some troubling times with my guides. There has been layers of, mistruths being brought forward for my own personal expanse, but that takes a knock at the trust. But for most of this journey, even though I could speak to teams of light, my own personal guides somewhere, I've very much gained my understanding just in terms of frequency and energy, and picking up on messages out in nature, out in my surroundings. If the wind is blowing a certain way, that means something to me. So remember that, everyone. There is not one direct way to be connecting with teams of light. You don't have to be a channel. You don't have to be able to bring forward, very specific beings. And I don't have a lot of very specific guides. And I know that many out here do. They have a very specific team that they work with. I work with collective energy a lot, within the realms of all space and time. So within the realms of spirit and within the realms of galactic teams as well. So it's not often that I will bring forward a very specific guide for myself. I do that with other people in their spaces. I bring forward, aspects of their teams of light towards them. But I was never a soul that had a very specific guide brought forward, and, it being something that was named to me. Although I'd gone through awakenings and what's the word that I'm looking for? Education within mediumship. I had people that were on the same courses as me, and they were bringing forward guides that had names. Like, I didn't have that. I wasn't even connecting into my guides at that time. I was very much the dunce of the class, and, my path has taken on a very different journey, and I've just had to trust it along the way. So trust wherever you find yourself now and how you are connecting with your guides, because it's there for a purpose. It's there for a reason. And teams of light will only show up in the ways that they know is going to be helpful for you. So trust in that too. And wherever you are and wherever you're understanding, even if you're crying out for more connection, even if you're crying out for more information, if it was truly brought to you, it might not be helpful to you in that present time. And, you know, now looking back on my path, I know why I was kept in the dark for so long, because one, it was just too much for my consciousness. And two, I really had to just find this stronghold within self. And that's what teams are pushing me to. So please trust in that, knowing everyone. I know there's been a lot that's been brought forth in this message, and apologies, but I feel like it all ties into one another. We are seeding this new layer of consciousness. We are breaking down old layers of consciousness, and we are coming to a time where we're going to have to start communicating with ourselves better, be more succinct in our energy, so that we can understand messages from our guides, also everyone. So please make sure to be looking after your physical vessel. Please make sure to be looking after your mental health and psyche, as well as expanding in the spiritual spaces. There is a fine-tuning of all of that needs to happen to be a well-rounded soul here expanding. We can't neglect anything in the present given time, especially now. Consciousness is so precious and so fragile somewhere. Please go easy with self. Take the time. Do not listen to channelings back to back at this time. I would suggest that you just spend as much time in meditation, in contemplation, connecting with your teams as much as possible, because they're here to help us in this space, everyone. And, you know, I don't think that we could do it without them. So I trust them implicitly. I'm incredibly grateful to be in the space that I am, to have the connection that I do with teams of light across all space and time. But it is a challenging time that we are facing, everyone. But it's for our highest good and our highest purpose. So please hold that in heart, that we are doing this now so that later down the line we have more freedom. This is what it's all about. It's about our freedom. And, you know, somewhere we are all doing this for the children of this world. And, you know, when that message comes in, it's like instant tears, you know, instant tears. I feel it. My heart is just completely opened, and I think, yeah, I'm ready to take on this fight again. I'm ready to, you know, be seeding this consciousness for them. So remember that too. You know, it's not just us that we are doing this for. It's for other souls out there too that, you know, have really struggled, and granted they're going to be set on their own path, you know, of their soul's evolution, no matter what has happened to them. But I think sometimes it's good to have a place to source your energy from, and your grit and your fight, you know, to keep going on this path. And that's where my space has been today. And I'm going to share a video that I watched that helped me bring forward some understanding somewhere as well, everyone. So I think that's all from me today. And, you know, please do reach out to us. It's exactly why we are here. And I'm going to be filming back to back again. So please do check in within that space as well when you feel like it is time for you. And apologies that sometimes you know, it might feel like I'm just stepping out and I just drop a bombshell and I go, but, you know, I'm still going through this process with you all as well. So please know that I'm holding light for all behind the scenes. And when I bring forward a message, I know that in my heart, this be the truth, and this be the next step that we are having to take, even if it's difficult, everyone. So please go easy, please go well, and, you know, please do reach out if you need help within this. And we are all in this together, and it's a community space, and I'm grateful for every single one of you stepping forward and being a shining light at this time. But that's all from me today and the Angelic Council. Take care.